So today I'm going to be going over why you should be using normal maps and specular maps and how you should create them. So I guess here as an example, here is just a default shader with just the diffuse texture. It looks very boring and just flat. And so if we wanted to improve that, what we would be using is a normal and specular map. So if we go into Blender here, we have our basic interior set up here. And so what we're going to need to do is select the shader and we're going to convert it to a normal spec shader. This is the shader that you majority of the time will be using pretty much. So convert this. And then now what we need to do, actually let me undo that. Before we convert it, I'm going to be using an add-on called Deep Bump. It should be free on GitHub. I'll leave the link to the description. Select your shader like this. And then in the shading view, like the node editor, press N and go to Deep Bump. Select your diffuse texture like this and click generate normal map like this. Then wait for it to generate. You'll see it'll create a normal map and just go ahead and save it from the image editor like this. Save as. And we're just going to delete these nodes. And we're going to convert this now to a normal spec shader. And now we can input the bump sampler as the normal map that we just created. And for the first thing, when you add the new image texture, make sure the color space is set to non-color. Sometimes by default it's not set to that, and it won't look correct in Blender. Then for the specular sampler, basically all we're going to do is just grayscale the diffuse texture and tweak the levels of it. So we're just going to open up Photoshop. And we're just going to open up our image and go to image mode and then grayscale. And this is probably good enough as is, but if you want to tweak the, like, I guess amount, you can go to adjustments and then levels. And the darker it is, the less specular like amount it'll have. So if it's like this, it'll be like none, and if it's all the way up here, it'll be quite a lot. I'm just gonna go something in the middle like that. I'm just gonna save this. We're going to save this as .dds with NVIDIA's texture tool. And I'm just going to rename it. And make sure you save it as BC1 compression, as there's no alpha, so you don't need BC3. So I'm just going to apply the specular thing, and now you can see it's here. And it's already looking a decent bit better, but we're going to tweak the parameters here. So under the shader parameters or value parameters, we're going to change this a little bit. We're going to change this the intensity to 0.7 and the fall off to like 80, just so it's not as like reflective, and the Fresnel to 0.97. That, and then we can just go ahead and export. But I'm just going to embed this shit real quick because I can't be bothered. Export that and then re-import it. Oh, I need to convert our normal map to DDS. 1 second. Oh, that's PNG. Oh, never mind, it's not. There. Now, I'm just going to re-import it into Codewalker. And then put it in our stream folder. And see here as reference, it looks really flat. We teleport away and restart the resource, and then type str_request flush. It should pretty much just restart it, and so you don't have to restart your server. Now you see here, there's a lot more detail. Obviously our normal map seems to be like way too strong, but I guess you get the idea. With it's like very little effort, you get a lot more detail, and yeah. Actually, with this normal map, what we can do is, since it's really intense, we can just go ahead and turn down the bumpiness parameter. We can set this to like 0.5 and see how that looks. A lot of this is just experimenting and playing around with stuff until you get it how you want it to look. Here now that's less intense and looks a little bit better. That could still go down a little bit more, so I'm going to put this to like 0.3. Try that. That looks good to me, but yeah, now you can see there's a little shine to the texture, and there's like more depth to the, like, just looks like there's height in the texture. Yeah, that's pretty much it that I wanted to share in this video.